everyone. My name is Sarah from Husker. First, I'd like to thank MVP for continuing to raise awareness and helping those struggling with addiction. Before Danny was sober, there were lots of fights in the house, which all stemmed from worry and fear. They were never out of hate. It was easier for my family to make excuses for his behavior rather than face the facts of what was really going on. We all had constant anxiety. When a random number called me, I feared the worst. I remember telling my mom we had to sit down with Danny and do an intervention. I had to help make her realize that he didn't have money because he was gambling. He wasn't stealing to pay back bookies. Deep down, we all knew what the issue was, but it took a little extra push and some tough love to take the blinders off. The night we sat Danny down, he admitted everything. He wanted help, and I think that's the most important part to remember. He was dealing with such a strong addiction. He felt ashamed and embarrassed. He was too afraid to ask for help. Personally, I've had several friends, close friends, deal with the same issues, so I think during that process I was a little calmer and helped keep my parents calm during that process. We tried not to scream and yell. He was asking for help, and that's all we cared about. Granted, the first time in rehab, things weren't fixed, and it was a little bit of a vicious cycle going back and forth. We missed Danny at family parties, holidays, family vacations, and just around in our everyday lives. We had more stress and anxiety when we didn't hear from him, more anger when he relapsed, and there were secrets and more arguments. We finally realized that we all had to be in this together, and we had to be a team to support each other and Danny. It affected all of us. Danny was down in Florida for a couple years. Not too much was changing. It was the same vicious cycle going back into rehab. It wasn't until my parents came to my siblings and I and asked us how we felt about Danny moving back up home. There was this great program in Delaware County, MVP Recovery. I was afraid, but I knew being closer to family was going to be the best thing for him. We hoped for the best. Fast forward a year and a few months later, Danny's done a 180. My family and I cannot thank MVP Recovery enough. Seeing his relationship with my family flourish is my favorite part. The day my dad came home from work after spending the day with Danny was one of my happiest moments. It seems so subtle, but hearing my dad tell a story about Danny with a smile on his face was such a good feeling. I knew things were definitely changing for the better. I am so proud of the man Danny is becoming. It's still going to be a long road, but you have all the support in the world. I hope everyone dealing with addiction knows that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and thank you MVP for helping Danny get back on his feet and prove that addiction can be beat. Danny, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication to recovery. I speak for our entire family when I tell you how proud we are of you.
Hello, my name is Sam McCusker. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. Thanks for coming out, everybody, especially to my family. Like Sarah said, my life has done a complete 180 since I came to the program of MVP, AA, and I didn't think I was going to get nervous, but it's not that often. I think people like us get to hear things like that, because for a long time it's always like either something negative I'm thinking or saying about myself, or I'm hearing other people saying. And life changes through recovery, and I'm just very grateful to be a part of it. I don't know, my heart's pounding. I really didn't think I was going to be nervous. I don't know. I came into, I'm not afraid to admit now that when I was 17, I took my first opiate. It was a Percocet. It was a pill. By the time I was 20, I was a daily IV drug user, and that's things that I was ashamed to say in the past, or I wanted to keep hidden. But the reality is, I think it needs to be spoken about on an open forum so people know that, there is hope and it's not just the end of the road. My life was completely gridlocked with no forward progress by the time I was like 19. And I had a lot of aspirations in high school. I had a great upbringing and family. And my life took a certain amount of turns that at the time I thought it was over. And now I'm thankful for every step on that path to lead me here. And you know, my recovery is a lot bigger than just myself now. For a while, the only person I cared about was myself. What could I do for me to feel better? What excuse could I pull to get another bag or another drink with no real consideration or perception through my family's eyes? And, you know, going to like over 10 inpatient rehabs, within a few years, I felt like a complete loser. I didn't think anything was going to change. And I know there's other people out there that feel the same way, but maybe they're just still fighting it. And I would just like to thank everybody in the room, my family, MVP, and like first and foremost God, above all others, for putting me on this path and guiding me through the whole way. Recovery is possible, and my life has changed, and I couldn't have done it without people in this room. Thank you.